My name is William Cheong. I'm the COE, or Center of Excellence Lead, for our digital card solution. All right. Now, I was told that I have 20 minutes on the stage, and I'm standing between you and coffee breaks, which is not a very safe place to be. So I'll focus very much on one single topic on digital card or digital payments today. Okay, and that's click to pay. All right. Okay. So let me start with this. All of you will have one of these devices, smartphones. It could be an Android, it could be iPhone, and so on. And you would have probably registered a payment instrument into one of the global wallets, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, and so on. And if you have done so and you've done a transaction with Tap to Pay, you know how easy and seamless it is, right? You just double tap, do an authentication, and then you go to the NFC enabled wallet, enabled POS, and the transaction flows through. Second, like literally less than a second. And that's a fantastic user experience. Now, when it comes to e-commerce transaction, however, not quite as seamless, right? Especially if you're going into a new merchant that you've never visited before. So typically what happens is that you go and you select a product, put it into the basket, and then you go for a checkout. And then there, you will be given a number of choices in terms of payment and payment choices, right? If you select, let's say, a Visa credit card, then you have to manually type in the 16-digit PAN, CVV expiration date, and then you have to put in your billing address. And if it's a physical product, you probably have to put in delivery address as well. So it takes a little bit of time, error-prone, but you get through that. Takes maybe a minute or two, and then you press pay. And that's not the end of it, because what will happen is that you'll receive an SMS, right, with an OTP that basically wants to authenticate that you are who you are. And that takes a few more seconds. So that whole journey is not as seamless as it could be, right? And that's why Click to Pay was created. So Click to Pay is actually created by EMV Co. They create the specifications for EMV, but they also created what's called Secure Remote Commerce, SRC. So if you hear of SRC and you've heard of Click to Pay, they're basically the same thing, okay? Who has heard of Click to Pay? Can I just have a show of hands today? Okay, we got one, two, well, of course. Okay, a few people here, all right? So Click to Pay is a hot topic around the world today. It started in Europe, so the schemes are actually pushing. Visa, MasterCard are making mandates, are issuing mandates for issuers to add or enable cardholders to enroll into Click to Pay, okay? And those mandates are coming through our region as well, by the way. Okay, Malaysia is one of the key markets that both Visa and MasterCard are focusing on to enable Click to Pay. Okay, so some of you may have seen the mandate, others may not have yet, but it is coming. Okay, so Click to Pay, in conjunction with the biometric authentication and so on, will make that whole journey a lot more seamless. And it is being adopted by merchants, by the issuers, as well as by cardholders because of the mandate from the schemes. So there's two motivations why the industry is pushing Click to Pay. The first thing is fraud. Okay, as you can see from the Juniper research, between 2023 and 2028, they estimate about $362 billion in online payment fraud. That's a huge number, right? And something that needs to be addressed and looked into. And Click to Pay addresses that by using tokenization. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Okay, and the second motivation, of course, is to make that whole process a lot more seamless, just like your mobile tap and pay, right? To enhance that journey a lot more. Okay, so MasterCard has already stated that by 2030, they're not going to allow any merchants to accept your clear funding PAN, your PAN. Everything has to go through tokenization, and that's why they're pushing for Click to Pay and by 2030, no more manual entry of the PAN. Okay, so let's talk about click-to-pay. How does that work from a cardholder perspective? Okay, assuming that I've already enrolled into click-to-pay, and we'll talk in a few more slides about how that process happens, but assuming that I've already enrolled and I go to an e-commerce site that I want to make a purchase, and I go to the checkout, and it provides me with the option of click-to-pay. Okay, so all I need to do is to select click-to-pay, and if I've only enrolled one card, that card becomes default, of course, and then you confirm done. Okay, and in combination with biometric authentication, there's no more 3D secure SMS, OTP, and all of that. Right, makes it a lot more seamless and almost as close as your mobile tap and pay. Okay, so from a cardholder and merchant perspective, what's the value? So no more manual entry of card details or your invoicing address. Could be reduced down to 1 or 2 clicks in order to basically complete your transaction. And again, with biometric authentication, no more cumbersome 3D secure process. It's secure because it uses tokenization. What happens is that once you've enrolled your card onto Click-to-Pay will send that card to the TSP. So whether it's VTS, Visa Tokenization Service, or MDES, the MasterCard one, it will be tokenized, and that token will then be provisioned into Click-to-Pay. So when the transactions happen, it's a token that gets passed to the merchant, not your clear FPAN. And that obviously is a lot safer, because if there's a hack of the merchant database, if it's a clear FPAN, it can be used for fraudulent basis purposes, whereas a token cannot, because it has to be combined with a cryptogram in order for the transaction to take place. Okay? All right, from issuer, why would issuers want this? Well, first of all, well, a couple things. Boost revenue as well as loyalty. So if your card, your issued card, is the only one that is enrolled into Click-to-Pay, it becomes the top of wallet for all Click-to-Pay transactions, right? So that basically guarantees that you will have volume through that. Stronger security, fraud is obviously a big problem in the industry. And by using tokenization, it reduces that, the cost of fraud. Higher conversion, by simplifying that whole transaction process, you reduce the cart abandonment rate, well, which is what all e-commerce transactions you want to happen. Prevent shift to costly third-party wallets. Now we know that Apple Pay, for instance, and probably Google Pay, you can use those wallets in order to transact for e-commerce purposes, and it's pretty seamless as well. Now the problem from an issuer perspective is that if it gets transacted through Apple Pay, the issuer has to pay a transaction fee to Apple. Okay, so it's an additional cost. Whereas as far as we know at this point, Click-to-Pay, there's no additional cost to the issuer. Okay? All right, so what's the challenge to issuers? How to get your cardholders to enroll into Click-to-Pay. All right? So today there are 3 ways in which you can enroll. As a cardholder, you can enroll into Click-to-Pay. There's a manual management, or whereby I will go to Visa, Click-to-Pay, or MasterCard Click-to-Pay, and enroll my card there, manually entering all the details, including billing and shipping address and all of that. So once it's enrolled, it's in the cloud. However, it is error-prone, it takes time, and it's not the best process. And in fact, the schemes will, over time, no longer support that manual process. Okay? The second one is self-management, and that's where, through the mobile banking app, a customer can initiate the enrollment process by clicking a button, and through APIs and SDK, the enrollment process will happen automatically in the background. So the SDK or API will basically take the information from the CMS or core banking and then pass it to Click-to-Pay for tokenization and provisioning. And then the third one is auto-enrollment, auto-management. So auto-management is one whereby the issuer is in control of the enrollment, not the cardholder. Okay? So the issuer can enroll automatically the card and without any action from the cardholder at all. Okay? Now that we know how the enrollment can be done, the issuers can do it, and they can do it themselves. But the problem with that is it's not an easy process. You have to work with Visa, you have to work with MasterCard, and there's multiple integration processes and so on. And on top of that, you have to be PCI DSS compliant, high security, and you need to connect with Visa and MasterCard and so on. Okay? And that's where we come in. All right? You didn't see that coming, right? All right. So we have a solution that basically addresses both the self-management as well as the auto-enrollment or auto-management. So in self-management, we have a set of APIs, or the SDK, whereby you can integrate it into your app and allows the customer, as you can see from the button on the right-hand side there, to enroll into Click to Pay. And once you've pressed that button, everything happens in the background. As I mentioned earlier, through our APIs, we'll do the necessary processes and enroll everything into Click to Pay. Okay? And should an issuer want to do auto-enrollment, we have that option as well that gets embedded into the mobile banking app. Okay? So the value for financial services institutions is that it's one integration for both Visa and MasterCard. Okay? We are fully PCI DSS compliant, and we are fully certified by both Visa and MasterCard on all of our solutions that we offer. When it comes to push provisioning, cardholder does not need to do any kind of manual entry in order to enroll into Click to Pay. We support tokenization, and therefore it allows you to meet all of your compliance for the mandates for both Visa and MasterCard. In terms of auto-enrollment, what it does is that it allows you, the issuer, to be able to do all the enrollment seamlessly, without any of the cardholder action to be taken. Why that matters is because it's meeting the mandates that Visa and MasterCard are issuing today. Okay? And if you act early, then you become compliant without rushing the implementation later on. All right, so in a nutshell, we can provide both the self-enrollment as well as the auto-enrollment options, or both, if you wish to do that, and be able to enroll cards into Click to Pay on behalf of the customer. Now, if it's auto-enrollment, what will happen is that because of data privacy, data residency issues, or regulations, we also have an inbuilt self-management, an inbuilt lifecycle management, which allows the consumer, because it's auto-enrolled, they had no choice, but allows the consumer to delete that card or to delete their profile from Click to Pay if they choose not to participate. So that is part of the solution also. Okay? All right. So using the Entrust will help you to fast-track your online payment strategy. It's a unified Visa MasterCard solution. We can provide both push provisioning as well as auto-enrollment. It allows you to stay compliant with Visa and MasterCard. And in addition to that, once you've worked with our solution, we also have a full stack of other features, which are listed here, which can be added very quickly if you're using our SDK in terms of additional digital card features. All right, so that, I believe, is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions during the coffee break, please approach me. Happy to discuss further, or we can schedule a separate session. Thank you very much.